back in the olden days, when animals chatted away to each other, just like you and I, and so also tended to be pretty judgy about looks and labels and stuff, there lived a
mother duck.
After the requisite 28 days of sitting on her eggs, a
Bunch of little ducklings
hatched. All were healthy, but one was not the cute little yellow ball of fluff, but a big scruffy grey bird. The other ducklings, of course, turned against the
different
looking one, dubbing it
UD
or the
Ugly Duckling.
UD obviously didn't feel great about the whole situation and was concerned about
the long-term impact this bullying and isolation
might have on her mental health. So when she was old enough to fend for herself, she packed her meagre possessions and set out into the world. Not far from home, she came upon a couple of older ducks who cared little for her or her appearance and just cared about
Partying hard
and
living each day as if it's the last.
unfortunately, within only a couple of weeks, that aphorism proved a little too precise when duck hunting season began and they promptly found themselves variously paired with oranges and cranberries, balsamic and hot oil on the dinner tables of other partiers. UD survived the season, but found herself increasingly isolated and lonely, and, as winter set in, she nearly froze. Rescued just in time by a kindly farmer who brought her back to his home to warm up. But the trials and tribulations of the ugly duckling didn't stop there, for the farmer also owned a nasty
Cat
and who, jealous at the attention being given to the new arrival, quickly turned against UD, picking up right where her siblings had left off with their jeers about her.
Grayness.
And
general lack of symmetrical proportions.
the duckling, heartbroken, again fled the scene, no longer,
even cared if I lived or died.
and all through winter she shivered in a cave near a frozen lake, eating
Gross stuff.
like grass and bugs and generally having a crappy time. Finally, winter broke and the first signs of spring appeared, including a wedge of graceful swans which swooped down and landed on a bank beside the defrosting lake. The ugly duckling was so taken by their beauty and so despondent in her own misery, she said to herself,
Better to be pecked to death by such beautiful birds than to live such a sad life in a cave.
so courageously she made her way towards the bank and was astonished to find the stunning birds welcomed her kindly as one of their own. And only then did UD catch a glimpse of her reflection in the water, to discover over the miserable winter that she had grown, and she stared at her reflection, and the big ugly reflection stared right back at her, and in that moment she knew she'd finally found a bevy of birds that were secure enough in their own features to accept her for who she was, regardless of how she looked. And from that day forth became known as Sam, and hung out with the swans, looking out for each other and generally being awesome to all their common bird.